Chapter 3: The Art of Letting Go, dedicated to my grandmother, Ola. Thanks for joining me today. We're going to talk through something that I still struggle with, and that's letting go. A long time ago, when I was very small, my Granny Ola said in her southern twang, "Bitterness sours the woman." When I first heard this comment, I assumed it was referring to when a woman holds a grudge against someone. But as I've matured, I realize that there is greater significance within these wise words. You see, bitterness can be something that you have internally against someone else, which you absolutely need to resolve, and perhaps that's a topic for the future. However, today I want to focus on when you experience bitterness from a person in your circle, family, or friend group. As my business started to become more successful and I became more bold and unapologetic about my love for my husband, who happens to be French and white, I realized that some of the people closest to me preferred the version of Melva that was struggling, who was semi-successful, yet definitely not more successful than them, and the Melva who prioritized their advice. These relationships soured over time because that's what bitterness does. Because bitterness involves a power play rooted in another person's projecting their insecurities. Here are just a few examples. A vendor who I used rather frequently years ago suggested that I was becoming successful because white people like how I sound. Now, frankly, I think most people like how I sound, but most importantly, I like how I sound. I want to say they said something like, "It's so cool. How can you make your voice sound like this to appeal to white people?" For the record, my voice has always been like this since I was a kid, but I digress. At the time, they made a joke, tried to laugh it off, but the seed was planted. She was uncomfortable that my authenticity reached people she believed she did not have access to. She clearly had some unresolved resentment about what was preventing her business from reaching different markets like mine. And here's another example. A fellow planner who I really liked said this to me. "I mean, you're just everywhere. How do you get invited to all of the things?" The reality is that I'm not everywhere. There are plenty of events I do not get invited to. There are plenty of events where people ignore me, although admittedly less now. But again, embedded in that comment was the, "How dare she? She does not deserve access. I do." And for people who think like this, they often don't want to relive the parts of my life that were dark and hard. For some reason, they only focus on the highlight reel. And as a result, their bitterness, clouded in seemingly nice, nasty comments, is on full display. And in my personal life, I no longer count or care about the comments about my relationship with my husband. The truth is that bitterness in your circle usually means these things. First, you've evolved beyond certain people and places. Second, your circle will become notably smaller but expand in genuine supportiveness. And third, you need to protect who you grant access to in the future. And yet none of this makes letting go any easier, because inherently we want to believe that people are rooting for us. When I've had to let people go, family included, it's hurt. But what has restored me is investing in the people that genuinely care. As you navigate life, here are the questions I invite you to explore in your journal. And this time, we're only going to focus on 2 questions because I know we covered a lot in the last session. Here's the first question. What people and places do I need to let go of? And second, what lessons should I retain from those experiences? Similar to every letdown, every time I have lost someone or something, there was a lesson for me to retain beyond the initial hurt and disappointment. And now I can leave you with the full comment from my Granny Ola. Bitterness sours the woman, but that's just temporary, LaJoy, because you'll see that life gives you more light than dark, more flowers than weeds. And that's when you realize what was once bitter was actually juicy and sweet. Till the next time.